Hey guys, welcome back. Today we're going to talk about adding and subtracting polynomials. So before we get into it, I do want to give you some definitions first. So a polynomial, poly actually means many, okay? But the word mono, meaning monomial, means mono means one. So a monomial is a number, a variable, or a product of one or more numbers and variables. So there's just going to be one term in a monomial. So there's one term, whereas polynomial would have many. So an example of one term might be the number 5, the variable x, maybe the term 3x squared, or 1/2 y. Okay, those are all just examples of monomials. So you can write in some examples of your own over here in the other column as I'm going along. So maybe you pick 7, y, 2y, doesn't really matter. Okay, and as we go through these notes, please make sure you kind of follow along. You can print out the PDF of the blank notes, or we also will provide a key of the notes next week, but I want you to really try to follow along. Okay, a binomial has the prefix bi in it. It's actually two monomials. So if we had the class example 3x plus 4y, notice we have two terms. So that would be a binomial. A trinomial, tri means 3, it's actually a polynomial with 3 terms. So we could have an example would be maybe we'll use negative 7x squared plus 3x minus 1. Notice there's your first term, there's your second term, and here's your third term. Okay, and when you list the trinomial, when you write it out, you usually start at the highest exponent and you go down. Okay, a polynomial, there's our prefix poly, is a monomial or sum of monomials, each called a term of the polynomial. Usually it refers to more than 3 terms. So if you wanted to write a polynomial, you could actually write it as one term, like 2x, or maybe you had two terms, 3y plus 1, or 3 terms, 4x squared plus 2x minus 7, or maybe even 4 terms. Say you had 5x to the third minus 4x squared minus 2x plus 7. Okay? The leading coefficient, when a polynomial is written in decreasing order of exponents, the leading coefficient is the coefficient of the first term. So if I wrote the example 4x squared plus 2x plus 3, the leading coefficient, okay, would be the number 4. Okay, it's the coefficient of the first term when the terms are listed in decreasing order of exponents. Okay, a constant is a number usually written at the end of a polynomial. It does not have a variable associated with it. So if I had 5x plus 3, my constant would actually be a positive 3. Okay, if I had something like 2x to the third plus x squared plus 3x minus 4, my constant would actually be a negative 4. Again, you can write your examples in the other column. Okay, so like terms, and this is what's going to be important in this lesson, terms or monomials that have the same variables with the same exponents or just constants, so they would all be like terms. So if I had 4x and 3x, they would be like terms. Okay, if I had a squared and I had 3a squared, they would be like terms. And if I had 2y and say negative 5y, they would be like terms. Okay, notice the same variable with the same exponent. Okay, so let's move on. Okay, so we want to combine like terms. So looking at our example with number 1, we have 3x squared plus 7x minus 5 plus 2x squared. We're going to break apart our terms, okay, and we're going to combine the like ones. So I'm going to look here and I see I've got 3x squared and I've got 2x squared. Notice, okay, the 2x squared is positive and the 3x squared is positive. Combining the like terms just means to take the two coefficients and add them. 3 and 2 is 5, so we end up with 5x squared. Okay, the 7x we don't have anything to combine with, so it's just plus 7x, and the constant there's nothing to combine with. So that would be our final answer in when we simplified. Okay, so if I looked at number 2, I usually start at the highest. Okay, so for example number 2, when we're looking at this, we look for our like terms. All right, where we're going to start out, we've got negative 2x to the third, and we've got 8x to the third. So if you look at the coefficients, negative 2 plus 8 would be 6x to the third. Okay, we've got 5x squared, and we've got a negative 7x squared. So 5 minus 7 is a negative 2x squared. So there would be our final binomial. Okay, looking at number 3. All right, number 3, we're going to look at, we've got 9x to the third, and we've got positive x to the third. Don't forget the coefficient. If there's not one listed, the coefficient is 1. So 9x to the third plus x to the third is 10x to the third. Okay, but oops, I forgot about our negative 10x to the fourth here. There's nothing to combine that with, so I'm going to list this out front because I like to start at the highest exponent and go down. Okay, and that would be plus 10x to the third. Okay, and then now looking at our x's, we've got negative x and we've got a positive 12x. Okay, negative 1 plus 12 is 11x. So that would be our final answer. And notice we start at the highest exponent and we go down. That's good algebra practice. Okay, so looking at our number 4, we've got negative 5x to the third. Okay, well first we're going to look at the fourth. So we've got negative 15x to the fourth and minus 8x to the fourth. So 15 minus 8 is 7x to the fourth, and then we've got negative 5x to the third, okay, and 9x to the third. So that would be a negative 5 plus 9 is 4, so 4x to the third. All right, and then we've got our x to the squares. We only have one. It would be right in here, so we would just say plus x squared. Okay, so at this point I want you to pause the video and write down the next 2 problems and try them. Okay, so you're paused, and when you come back, okay, I'm going to give you the 2 answers. Okay, 5 should be negative 14x to the fourth. Okay, number 6 should be negative 7x to the fifth plus 5x to the fourth minus 4x squared. Okay, do the same thing for the next 2 problems if you need more practice. Okay, there's 7 and 8. Okay, I'm going to move this over a little bit so we don't cut it off. There's 7 and 8. So pause the video, write down the 2 problems and try them. Okay, when you do that, your final answers should be 7 should be 2x squared plus 4x plus 4. And 8, actually everything should cancel out, so you're going to end up with 0. There's nothing that's going to be left because, and let's try to do that. So if we looked at our negative 3x to the fifth, negative 3 plus 1 is negative 2. Negative 2 plus 2 is 0. So it's 0x to the fifth, which is just 0. And here we have 8x minus 3x is 5x. 5x minus 5x is also 0. So that's how we get a final answer of 0. Okay, again, pause the video on the next 2 problems. Oh, actually, let's do these 2 together. Okay, what's different about number 9 and 10? Notice we have parentheses. Now, the first step in getting rid of, in combining your like terms, you want to get rid of your parentheses. Now, it's pretty easy to do when you have when you're adding 2 binomials because it's like you're distributing a positive 1 first. So I'm going to rewrite this whole problem in number 9 as 2x plus 5x squared plus 3x squared plus 7x. So never try to combine your like terms when you have parentheses. Okay, so now I've got 5x squared and 3x squared, and I get 8x squared. And now when I combine 2x and 7x, I get 9x. So there's my answer. Okay, where it is a little different is right here in number 10. Notice we're subtracting a binomial. Okay, so before you subtract the binomial, I want you to think like you're distributing a negative 1. So the first binomial is just 3x squared minus 7. All right, but now it's going to be minus 5x squared, and a negative times a negative is a positive, so it's plus 6. So always rewrite that problem first before you try to combine your like terms. 3x squared minus 5x squared is going to be negative 2x squared. And negative 6, so here we have a negative 6 and a positive, negative 7 and positive 6 would be a negative 1. Okay, so if you want to give it a try now, shift this over a little bit, write down 11 and 12 and pause the video and let's check your answers to see if you got it right. Okay, when I rewrote this, I have 8x squared plus 3x minus 5x squared plus 6x plus 9. When I combine the like terms, I end up with 3x squared plus 9x plus 9. Okay, with number 12, we're just adding, so we just distribute a negative 1. So let's rewrite it without the parentheses. Okay, plus 5x, okay, minus 1, plus 3x squared minus 6x plus 8. Whoops, that goes over there. Now when we combine our like terms, we're going to get negative x squared minus x plus 7. Okay, so there's 13 and 14. Pause the video, try the two problems. Okay, for 13, your final answer should have been negative 13x squared minus 2x plus 18. And 14, your final answer should have been negative 5x squared plus 3x minus 6. All right, now let's try it again on the last two problems. So on 15 and 16, if you could pause the video, write down the two problems, okay, and then try them. Okay, when you come back, I'm actually going to write it out for you. Okay, so when you get rid of the parentheses, you should have negative 2x plus 3x squared minus 7x plus 4 plus 9x squared minus 3x after you distribute. When you combine your like terms, you should get 12x squared minus 12x plus 4. All right, now with 16, after you distribute, you should get 13x squared minus 5x minus 10x squared plus 2x minus x plus 3. Whoops, running out of space there. When you combine your like terms, you should end up with 3x squared minus 4x plus 3. Okay, and that's it for your notes today.